Hey yo, what is up guys, it's me Dark Ombu. See now, this is Dark Ombu, but like me said, the channel name is going to be Dark Sand, okay? So it is me Dark Sand, aka Dark Ombu, who made a new channel, okay? Where it's gonna be based off of Dragon Ball What Ifs, okay? So, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball Super Heroes. Okay, now let's get into this. What if he opened his eye? Let me just say, okay, created by Primordial Vortex, Legend of the Monkey God. It sounds racist, I know, but like, just bear with me. Chapter 1, Flipping the Script. He opened his eyes, squirming inside the liquid he floated in. He could hear muted sounds runs around him. All the liquid made it hard to hear anything. It was all he had ever really known. Maybe there was a time before this, but he didn't remember it. All of a sudden that changed. A new sensation almost made him flail. He could feel something different on his body. He was being touched, grabbed, lifted. It was decidedly different from what he was accustomed to, and he didn't understand what was going on. He had never known a touch beyond the slimy feeling of the liquid. And then suddenly he was outside. He didn't even know what outside was, but it felt lighter than the fluid. He opened his mouth, liquid dribbling out. Before a loud wail escaped from his lungs, he coughed and cried, not understanding the new sensations. It felt strange to have something that wasn't liquid entering his body. And then he stopped for a moment, listening as he was rocked up and down gently, soothingly. Shh, mommy's got you, little Kakarot. He opened his eyes and took her in. Why did it feel so safe and warm in her arms? Why did it feel so much better than being in the liquid? He snorted and sniffled as she cooed at him, wiping his body with a towel. Hey there, little man. She gave him a bright smile, and he squirmed a bit before giving her a toothless one back. Quite a set of lungs on him, another voice said dryly. He's grown well. The voice was gruffer, louder. The speaker was tanned and scarred, with a red bandana around his forehead. The woman turned. I'm sure you screamed just as much as him when they first took you out of the incubator, she shot back with a smirk, but it dropped from her face as she turned to stare at the baby. She tried to smile, but it was strained, as Kako must have sensed that. He whimpered, and she set to rocking him again. He's too young for this, but he's only a year old. We can't send him away. We can't. This is only the second time I've ever held him in my arms. Her face scrunched up as she tried to keep her sadness in. You think I want to send him away, Yine? Bardock let out an explosive sigh. Coming closer and embracing his family, little Kakarot babbled a bit, drawing a smile from his mother. You know my walking nightmares have been getting worse. I keep seeing our home's destruction, and ever since I fought that damn Carnassian, I thought maybe it was just a curse from that bastard. Nothing at all happened for months, but in the last two, almost my entire team was banished on solo missions, and now Frieza issues a planet-wide recall. while his ship floats above our heads? I don't buy it. This whole situation reeks of death. Then we should all go, Gine pleaded. We can't just send our baby off alone. You know that can happen, Bardock growled. We'll be sent immediately on the scouters. It's a relief that Radis is off the planet with Vegeta. Lord knows that Brat probably will ignore the recall. He pulled back. I really hope I'm just blowing hot air. That these dreams really are just one last curse from that bastard, Kanasen. If that's the case, it will be a good dream for once. We can go collect him once this is all over. He backed off. I'm going to steal a pod. Be ready. I have been since you started having these visions. She shot back. Clearing the things programming will be a C. Yes, a C. The baby slowly drifted off, the conversation becoming unintelligible. He was awake again, and now dressed in a black suit that was so skin-tight it appeared molded to onto his body. Over it wore stretchy body armor on his torso. The man, Bardock, was smirking as the woman came closer. He makes that look good, doesn't he? She gave him a watery grin. Are, are you sure I can? I'm sorry, Gine. He embraced them. I know how much you want one of us to go with him, but even your power level will be noticed. He'll be safer on his own. The planet I chose is out of the way and not incredibly interesting from a resource standpoint. There's nothing valuable there for Frieza to send his men to conquer it. Plus, it is plentiful in terms of food. The natives are all terribly weak as well. Average power level of a mere 5. He'll be safe there. Gine's lip trembled before she marched forward and handed her husband his son. Here, hold him. I have to get this damn thing deprogrammed. We don't need Kakarot listening to all this useless junk. I suppose sending him with Rocket Baby programming is rather redundant when we're expecting betrayal by Frieza, he snorted as he gave his finger to his son to play with. The young child grabbed it and started cooing. Why you ended up in the meat packing planet, I'll never know. You service these things better than anyone. Someone had to keep you meatheads alive. Why you ended up in the meatpacking plant, I'll never know. You service these things better than anyone. Someone has to keep you meatheads alive. She smirked as she tossed the jab at him before refocusing. And I'm glad it was you. Look at me, growing sentimental. What have you done to me, woman? He chuckled. What recordings and files are you programming in? Everything I could get my hands on, and what I couldn't, we recorded ourselves, she replied. Anything he might need. Everything to make him strong like his father. He stepped back, finished. And the scouter Bardock axe, pacing forward slowly with his son in his arms, practically rebuilt the damn thing. No trackers or communicators. It's in the ball. She turned and walked slowly, not looking at him, but at her inquisitive baby. Let me hold him some more. Her voice cracked as she took him. I can't do this, Bardock. She started tearing up, holding on to little Kakarot tighter. This is for him, Gine. He put a hand on her head. He has to live on, no matter what. He took Kakarot back. Nothing. Oh. Now, before we're discovered, and all this is for nothing. And this is all for nothing. He placed his son inside. He placed his son inside. He placed his son inside the attack ball and strapped him in. Goodbye, son. Don't stare at the moon too long, okay, Kakarot? Guinea squeezed past him and placed a kiss on her son's head. Your father's just being a warrior. She put on a silly face to make her baby giggle. We'll be right behind you. We'll come get you, okay? She drew back to choke down a sob. Bark ruffled his son's hair, and Kakarot apparently started to sense their mood because he started to whine and looked like he was about to cry once more. Bardock pressed the button, and his son went into stasis. Some wires attached to his head and started feeding info into his brain. As his eyes closed and he succumbed to the sleep-inducing powers of the attack ball. The last he heard was his mother's mournful sob. Son Goku awakened with a gasp. Sitting in his bed, the young boy shook himself momentarily before rubbing his face and eyes. That dream again, he mumbled to himself. He started to chuckle. Something's going to happen today, isn't it, Grandpa Boy? He turned his eyes to the shimmering orange ball with 4 red stars sitting on the countertop of a fluffy pillow. He stood up and made his way out of his home. The sun hadn't even started rising yet, and he could see the stars twinkling clearly in the night sky. It was rare for him to dream of his birth parents like that. Sometimes he still wondered if they ever would come for him, if they were out there to this day preparing to bring him back. It was probably a fool's hope. He knew 13 years since he had arrived, and not a whisper for that. A fool's hope, he knew. 13 years since he had arrived, and not a whisper from them. As if his dreams and their messages on his ball were an indication they never would be. He took a deep breath of the cool morning air before exhaling with a smile. He walked back into his home and grabbed his power pole before walking back out. Time for breakfast, he yelled cheerfully before exploding into the air and flying from the house. Turn back. What do you mean? The speaker was a beautiful young teenage girl with long blue hair, partially tied into a sideways ponytail. She wore a tight white blouse with what looked like a pair of ski goggles around her neck. Her pants were blue and seemed to be entirely missing one of the legs. She wore calf-high boots, what looked like an armored pad on her left shoulder, and what looked like it doesn't say and, but it's supposed to say and what looked like an armored pad on her left shoulder, blue elbow warmers, and some gloves. She had just finished putting some gas in her car and bought some more supplies for her journey. She had stopped at the diner to get some food in her when someone had started chatting her up. And far be it for her to stop someone from fluffing up her ego a bit more. Hell, maybe they would buy her breakfast. Several of the local girls had been eyeing her with the green sin of envy in their eyes, and several had smacked their boyfriends for staring. But that had all quickly changed when she told them she was just passing through and heading south. You can't go there, sweetheart, a middle-aged woman said as she poured her a coffee. That's the way to Mount Paozu. It's too dangerous to head there. It's untouched by the outside world. Dinosaurs still live there. There's no electricity, no lights, nowhere to purchase dino caps. Nothing. Caps. Nothing. The young girl named Bulma pouted. I'm afraid that my journey means going there, no matter the danger, ma'am. You don't understand. The jock who had been trying to get her skirt up until she mentioned her direction shook his head. They came back blubbering. Oh, hold on. I know a couple of guys who went there on a dare. They came back blubbering. They swore they saw a giant monster take down a trio of Tyrannosaur single-handedly. A worried-looking girl picked up from where he left off. There's also more deadly beasts and bandits there than practically anywhere else in the world. One of them could just pick up your car for a snack. An older man spoke gravely, and that's not even considering it. On nights with a full moon, we used to hear thunderous rackets, even as far as here. And one day, one of the taller mountains we can see from this town simply vanished in a red flash of light. It was like nothing I've ever seen. Bulma swallowed heavily, sweating a bit. She breathed out. It's possible that my goal is beyond mouth palsy, but if it actually is there, then I can't let that stop me. She drained the rest of her coffee and grabbed her bagel. Thanks for all the warnings. I'll be careful. She dodged around someone who tried to stick their arm out to stop her. There are some things a person has to do. This is one of them. Bye, everyone. She stepped into the light with a bath. Her car was out of its dino cap. One more. I think it's supposed to be once more. She hopped in and raced off to her destination. Yeah, Goku cried out as he punched the giant log he had just rolled. He had just rolled a couple of miles to his house. He could have flown with it, sure, but he liked to have some fun every once in a while. And staying on a rolling log like that was good agility training. He leaned in and clapped his hands, watching as a giant log fell into a perfect stack of beams. That should be enough firewood for the day. Now to find some food. What will it be, today, Mr. Tummy? A growl was his answer. Yeah, fish sounds great. The grass near him rippled in a circular motion as he lifted into the sky, and then he was off. After an apple snack break and a healthy smack to a saber-toothed tiger, who seemed to want to make him dinner, he dove right off one of the cliffs and into the rapids below. Rapids below. Okay. Rapids? I don't know. Below. Yahoo! He shouted gleefully before submerging. He leapt onto a small little island, took his clothes off, setting it to dry. Anyone watching would have been excused for jaw dropping at the sight of the red furry monkey tail wiggling behind him. He smirked. Come on, guys, it's a tasty worm for one of you. Why not give it a nibble? He wiggled his tail out of the water when one of the smaller fish tried to come for it. He wasn't interested in a tiny snack like that. He saw a very large dark shadow in the water coming closer and closer. Now that's more like it. The shadow submerged towards him, and he spun, yanking his precious tail from danger as a gargantuan fish erupted from the water. The fish crashed through him. Take this, he cried, landing a perfect picture kick at the monster. The sound of breaking bones rang through the air as the fish flew seemingly launched from a cannon. It hit a tree and flopped onto the dirt, instantly dead. He put his wet clothes back on and flew, landing next to the beast with a happy grin. You're big. Eat it bigger. Eat it bigger. You'll last till dinner. He slung the massive weight over his shoulder as if it were no heavier than a backpack, and Started the trek back home. Oh my God, Bulma gasped as she got out of her car. She had been driving in the mountains for quite a while now. It had been utterly picturesque, or whatever. Other than that one incident where Tyrannosaurus had chased her car for a mile or so before giving up on catching her, she hadn't had a single worry. She was honestly completely confused by all the horror stories she'd heard on the way here. Hell, if she'd brought her ray gun, she could have easily just killed the dinosaur instead of letting it chase her. But this one was swallowed. Kinda see what you were warning me about now, she whispered in the silence. The land down in the valley was devastated. A crumbled mountain lay still in the distance. There wasn't a blade of grass to be seen anywhere before her. Craters pockmarked the landscape, as if it was the victim of a daily meteor shower. Of daily meteor showers, trees were uprooted, and some even looked chewed on. And worst of all, there was a deep trench, seemingly carved into the earth. She gulped again. When the world happened here, she asked the empty air. It was eerily quiet, too. There were no animals around anywhere. She kept gazing at the mess before her. It was like a train wreck, and she just couldn't bring herself to look away. And why just here? This doesn't look anything like the rest of the area. She shook her head. I don't think I should be here. She got back into her car and hightailed it away, only relaxing when she hit pristine grassland and forest once more. It was about a half hour's walk back. He was still pretty far, so he was debating just flying the rest of the way, since he couldn't wait to get a fire going and his catch cooking. But all of a sudden he paused, and his ears quirked. What's that sound? I've never heard anything like it before. On the other end of the noise, Momo was speeding far faster than she would have dared inside the city. Here is still the largest company on Earth and rich beyond her dreams. She may be, um, but that meant nothing in the eyes of the law. She had been pulled over once, only once. She hadn't stopped crying for 3 days. Still, it had toughened her up, showed her that not everyone just rolled over because of her name. It was a good lesson. Here, though, in the middle of nowhere, with not a soul in sight, yeah. Here she could do as she wished and engage her inner speed demon. Only suddenly, that wasn't quite true. Bulma's eyes bulged out of her skull when she realized there was a kid holding onto a goddamn giant fish standing there. Standing there in the middle of the path. And when she realized there was literally no way she could possibly stop now, she screamed. Bang! Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god! Bang! Oof, Goku dropped the fish when he was hit, and the both of them smacked into a tree. He got up with a small groan. What the heck was that? He rubbed the back of his head. Try to steal my fish, will you? Shot forward, spitting back kicked the thing that attacked him, sending it tumbling with a groan of metal. It rolled over and stilled while it's on its side. He stopped and actually looked at it before realizing it looked vaguely like his attack ball. Maybe you kinda had to squint. Okay, that didn't look anything alike other than the fact that they were both made of metal. Goku rubbed the back of his head. So you're not a monster. You're the monster. A blue head of hair popped out from head of hair popped out from one of the car's windows. Though her head was swimming and her hands were shaking, she managed to put her gun in his general direction and shot. Before she was even able to squeeze the trigger a second time, Goku yelled extend. His power pole swatted the gun right out of her hand. He still took a bullet square in the forehead, which made him shuffle back a step, but he didn't do more than rub at the area in irritation. Bulma stared with her jaw unhinged at the clearly magical staff he held. It had grown over 5 times its length as he used it to knock her gun out of her hand. There was nothing scientific about it, and as she nursed her throbbing hand, she came to understanding that she was probably in way over her head. I surrender. I'm a human just like you, kid, she screamed when he glared at her. Goku stopped and stared. She did kind of look like she had the same general figure, and softer features that his birth mom did, which made her a girl. From what little he could see on the recording his parents had left him, at any rate, he tilted his head to the side. What's this thing you're in, and why did you attack me? Bulma gulped as she pushed herself up and out from the car. I didn't mean to. I didn't think there would be anyone around her. After all the stories and warnings I heard telling me how dangerous this place was, everyone I ran into just told me to stay away, she said. She told him, feeling safe enough to lower her hands. I was driving a lot faster than I should have been and couldn't slow down. I'm so sorry about that, she told him. Before leaning down to take a closer look at him, he came up to about her navel at best and had messy spiky hair. He wore a bluish purple gi, what she could tell from what she could tell, and of course had that awesome staff thingy on his back. Driving, what's that? His question surprised her, though on retrospect it shouldn't have. Have you never seen a car before? She asked curiously. It's a vehicle, kid. I use it for transportation, to get from place to place. Goku tilted his head again. Why don't you just fly? He looked legitimately confused. She huffed in a bit of irritation. We're hard at work at home trying to make sky cars but and portable, but there are still too many king. I have no idea what you're talking about, Goku interrupted her. She damn near keeled over and fainted when he gently lifted up into the air and started floating in front of her. Why don't you just fly? He asked again. Yo, who is you? How are you doing that? She screeched in shock. Oh no. How are you doing that? She screeched in shock. She rushed forward and started waving her hands under Nora's body while he eyed her in growing bemusement. Where are the strings? Is there a camera somewhere? Am I being punked? She babbled on as she circled around, still looking to find how the hell he was literally floating. She absolutely noticed the red furry thing that was coming out of a hole in his pants, but put it from her mind. It in the hole of a hole in his pants, but put it from her mind. It for now. Put it from her mind. It for now, since she was so flabbergasted. What do you mean? This is really easy. I'm just focusing my ki around me, using it to float, Goku replied. Ki? She asked helplessly. Goku blinked. Wow, you're kind of clueless, aren't you? That's rich coming from that kid who didn't know what a car was, she barked automatically. The spell finally broken. He giggled. You're funny. He did a little twirl in the air. Aside from my Grandpa Gohan, you're the first human I've ever seen. And Grandpa Gohan had never had a car, though. He did tell me about them. She stared at him in both a little bit of shock and a bit of pity. So you and your grandpa have been alone up here for your entire life? Goku hesitated, his good cheer visibly vanishing for a moment. No. Grandpa, he returned his head to the side, and a bit of a haunted look coming across his face. He died many years ago. I've been alone ever since. Bulma blinked rapidly, feeling her throat close up a bit in sadness for the boy. Clearly, there was some sort of story there. If that look on his face was any indication, she bit her lip gently. I'm so sorry to hear that. No one should have been alone like that. Goku shook his head. It's okay. I've made my peace with it. He put on a smile. Anyway, if you were driving a car, does that mean you're from a big city? Grandpa told me about those too. He said, yeah, they have tall houses built like mountains. Wilma took the opportunity he provided. That's right. Though my own house is a bit more futuristic than those ugly boxes. Goku grinned genuinely. Now, say, do you want to come back to my place for dinner? You can tell me all about it. I can share some stories too. Bulma smiled at him. Sure thing, Kay. She suddenly realized she had no idea who he was. Say, I never got your name. My name is Bulma. It's nice to meet you. She gave him a little grin and a peace sign with a wink. Goku smacked his forehead. Oh man, and Grandpa always said I should be as polite as possible if I ever met a girl. My name is Goku, Son Goku. He turned and grabbed his fish. Anyway, hop on, I'll fly us home. Goku, Bulma blanched at his instructions. Aren't you a little too short to carry a tall girl like me? It'll be fine, I won't drop you, I promise, Goku replied. I don't know, she mumbled. She was very curious about how it would feel to fly under her own power. On the other hand, she definitely wasn't made of steel like he apparently was. She debated internally before ultimately her curiosity won out. It was a bit difficult to get comfortable on his back since she was much taller than he was, though he didn't strain in the least. When she was secure, he grabbed the fish by its tail, and they rocketed into the air without so much as a by your leave. Bulma screamed, not expecting the sudden acceleration at all. Oh my god, slow down! Sorry, Goku laughed. I was just so excited to meet a new person, and I was so hungry. I just rushed. Oh, please, my heart can't take it, she moaned. Why did I agree to this? Jax retorted, this was so different from Jocko's spaceship that she had fixed when she was 5. Goku laughed at her and let her settle down, simply floating high over the forest below. Once her heart rate calmed, she managed a shaky grin. Well, what are you waiting for, Goku? She latched on tight, fully expecting him to blinch for it again. The boy smirked and then confirmed her suspicion. Oh my god! She yelled, but this time in complete glee. Bulma's hair was all windswept, while Goku seemed no different than it ever was. She looked like she had stood in a wind tunnel for an hour, and yes, she couldn't even find it within herself to grumble. That was amazing! She cried out. Oh man, I wish I could do that myself. Why couldn't you? He asked her, tilting his head to the side. While she got reacquainted with the ground and got her heart rate and, more importantly, her hair under control, he had quickly and skillfully prepared his beast for dinner. He had it on a spit. He had it on a spit, and with a quick blast of energy from his hand, which also had Bulma googling, directed to the kindling had a fire going. Bulma blinked in shock. What? Wait a minute. You were being serious when you asked why I didn't just fly? Could I really learn that? Sure, why wouldn't you? He looked confused at her obvious bewilderment. I wasn't born knowing how to do it. I had to learn it too. Wow, that's amazing. Could you really teach me? Moma had a sparkle in her eye, though she couldn't say she had ever gotten about something that wasn't one of her inventions. But learning how to fly under her own power signed her up right up. She didn't even realize that she hadn't thought once about her quest since she had run into him. So how do I do it? Goku turned around and eyed the fish before turning it a bit and going to sit down next to her. So everyone has energy inside them. Everyone, whether like you or me, are like that fish. He smiled over to her. With training, you can learn to bring that ki out. Like this. He cupped his hands in front of his body and concentrated. A brilliant red ball of energy formed between his fingers. It glowed, illuminating them. Wow, it's so pretty. She breathed. Entrance. She breathed. Entrance, and I can really do this myself. And Goku nodded, still smiling over at her, before breathing out and letting his energy ball dissipate harmlessly. Learning how to do that is how you can learn to fly. Once you can do this, you can learn to move it around your body, and do things like fly. He got up again and made sure the fish was cooking evenly. Bulma stared at her hands before cupping them in front of her. She visualized okay. Okay. Whew. Okay. She visualized the ball of energy. Okay, you guys will see why I'm laughing. She visualized the ball of energy forming between her hands and tried to push and push harder until eventually she was just straining and shaking from the effort. And then she farted. Goku burst out laughing as she blushed furiously. Idiot. Stop laughing, she screamed at him, which only made him laugh harder. Jeez, you're funny, Bulma. I like you. Goku got out though. She was still smarting over the cafe. You can't force it like that, silly. You never even try to use ki before. Well, you haven't exactly shown me how to do it, she snapped angrily, her face still an angry red. Well, there's two parts to it, Goku told her. The first is learning how to feel the ki inside of you and bringing it out. The other half is training. The amount of ki you have can grow a lot. When I first learned how to fly, I couldn't do it more than an hour. Now I can do it for the whole day if I needed to. Training, she wins. You mean like lifting weights, push-ups? She grimaced in horror. Sure, that could work. Goku nodded. It's how I did it at first, but constantly using controlling it also works. Like a muscle. Bulma still had her nose wrinkled, weighing the options in her mind. It wasn't really that she was scared of dirt and sweat like most girly girls. She had been a greasehead fixing engines since she was 3, learning at her papa's hip. But actually, physical training was not something she was accustomed to. Home, she was accustomed to. She had all the tools and toys she ever needed at home. So it was like she ever had. It wasn't like she ever had to physically try to turn a rusty bolt. That was the torque. That was what the torque wrench was for. But flying under her own power, could she really pass that? No, she couldn't. She smoothed out her features as she watched Goku continue to work and season the fish. Teach me, she said, drawing a smile from the boy. Okay, he beamed at her. So let's start off with meditation. Learning how to keep calm and collected is a super important skill. It is much easier to control your ki like that. She nodded. I don't really know where to start, she mentioned bashfully. Well, we'll find a method that works for you then. Goku's cheer didn't diminish in the slightest. Let's start off with this. He opened his door and walked inside to get a candle, and all thoughts of flight flew out of her head when she saw it. She gasped and nearly screamed when her crush crashed back into her psyche. 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 It's a Dragon Ball. She hurried forward to grab it, but Goku blurred and appeared in her path. For the first time since the crash, he had a scowl on his face. What do you think you're doing? That's the only thing I have to remember Grandpa by. She skidded to a stop, realizing how much that must have looked. She forced herself to calm down. Sorry about that, but when I saw the Dragon Ball, I freaked out. I've been searching for it for over a month. What's a Dragon Ball? Goku still scowling, but had an inquisitive look on his face. He stopped and looked down. Why is it glowing? It's done that before, but never like this. Is Grandpa trying to tell me something? It's reacting, Bulma said, as she reached into her bag, reacting to mine, that is. She pulled out two nearly identical orbs to show her new friend. Whoa! Goku's eyes widened as he took them in. I've never seen anything like this before, and you have two of them? Yep, you see these balls are part of a set of 7. Look, you can see how each ball has a number of stars on it. That's how you can tell them apart, Bulma smiled. And then gasped when they all started to glow brilliantly. Whoa. It really has never done anything like this before. It's so cool, Bulma grinned. Once you have all 7 together, something even cooler happens. Goku watched her in rapture. At first, I didn't believe the legends. I always had this 5-star ball at home. It was a bubbly like my mother inherited, and she gave it to me. Since I liked it so much, it was always just a really pretty jewel. But then my sister Tights found this one, the 2-star ball. Since I liked the first one so much, she sent it to me. But when I bought the two together, they started glowing like magic. Then I remembered about the legend I had heard and started digging into them more. She grinned at him. Once all 7 are brought together, it'll summon a dragon, a real living dragon. And not only that, but it'll grant you any wish that you have. Wow, he breathed. You can really wish for whatever you want. Why did Grandpa never tell me about any of this? A slight look of pain came over his features. That was gone in a blink. That's what the legends say, Bulma confirmed. And like I said, very few people know about the Dragon Balls. I thought they were just fun tales when I was a girl, but then these two started glowing when brought together, and no matter how I studied them, nothing made sense except magic. These things have to be the real deal. If they are, then the dragon has to be as well. She held out a hand. What do you say, Goku? Do you want to be my partner as we search for the rest? It'll be a fun adventure. We'll be able to go to new places, learn so many new things. Goku grinned. That sounds like a lot of fun. He looked at her inquisitively. What are you planning on wishing for anyway? Bulma pursed her lips, wondering if she should reveal it or keep it private. Oh, what the hell? He's going to be traveling with me, protecting me as well, not to mention teaching me to fly. I suppose he deserves to know. She licked her lips a small amount and told him, I'm going to wish for the world's most perfect boyfriend, she declared. She declared. Goku tilted his head. What's a boyfriend? I'm a boy and we're friends, right? Oh, right, Bulma blushed a little. He's basically Tarzan. She hemmed and hawed for a moment. Well, it'll be someone who I hope to spend the rest of my life with. Hopefully. Eventually, hopefully, she blessed maybe some babies in the future. You mean like a make Goku accent confusion, having finally caught on, caught, caught, cotton, 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 cotton on with her last statement? Like my mom and dad, of course he'd take it like that. So at least he kind of gets it. She blushed a little more and nodded. Goku's face went slack and stared at her in disbelief. You're seriously? You have a wish that can grant you anything, and you ask for something like that? That's dumb. That would be like if I wished for dinner instead of getting it myself, he declared bluntly. She went red, both in anger and embarrassment, and snarled back, I should have just kept my mouth shut. Shows what you know. I could never find the perfect boyfriend on my own. Oh, she slumped her face, growing a bit depressed with Goku's face changing in surprise. I mean, even if the Dragon Ball grants your wish, what if he doesn't like you back? Goku asks. Abel's face slapped. Would be a silly waste of a wish, right? He patted her shoulder when she didn't answer, still looking dumbfounded. And why? And why couldn't you find one on your own, Bomo? Why do you look so sad? She looked at him and bit her lip. He was surprisingly aware of her someone she had intentionally pegged as a total country bumpkin. She smiled sadly. I'm the heir to the most important family on the planet, she confessed, even if she wasn't entirely sure why she was telling that to someone she had just met. Her voice gradually got quieter as she went on until until he would have had to strain to hear her if he didn't have really good hearing. That's why I wanted to wish for a boyfriend. Every single boy I've ever met has just wanted either my family's money or just to use me and throw me away. The girls are jealous of me and smile when I'm there, and then call me names behind my back. I quit going to school eventually and just studied on my own since I couldn't stand them anymore. I don't have any friends. Sure you do. I'm your friend, aren't I? Goku grinned at her, drawing a stunned look from the blue-haired princess. But what the fuck? Wait, hold up. Hold up. What, yo! Sans? What the fuck? Bro, I ain't trying to interject. Bro, what? Damn. Okay. 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 Oh god, bro. Bro, what? Yo, how far did I go? Okay, her lip quivered. Yeah, I guess you are. Thanks, Goku. Too bad you're so young, she mumbled the last bit. She also wasn't paying attention to his response, since she was now refocused on what she could wish for after having a rather obvious flaw pointed out. After all, even if he was her perfect boyfriend, didn't mean she was his perfect girlfriend. She felt rather stupid for never thinking of that before. Maybe I should just wish for a limited supply of the world's best strawberries like I first planned. No way, that one could get messed up, right? I'm 14. How old are you, Goku Herder, anyway? I'm 14. How old are you? Goku Herder, anyway. Bulma's spit take. I'm 14. How old are you, Goku Herder? Goku Herder, anyway. Bulma spit take. What, 14? No way, you look like you're 7. He laughed. It's true. I was born at age 73735. That's crazy. You're really small for your age, Bulma still wasn't sure she believed him, but that number had been so automatic. And from a boy who lived on his own in the middle of nowhere too, that was hard pressed to think it could be a prank. She was hard pressed to think it was a prank. He doesn't look like a dwarf either. His proportions are all normal. He can really be at least a year younger than me. Yeah, it's really funny. I can't wait to actually grow bigger. Goku laughed cheerfully. His face then abruptly changed from amused to terrified, and he looked like he was gonna start panicking. Oh no, dinner! He raced past her and got back to work on the fish. Ooh, safe. Looks like it's ruined. He yelled gleefully. Momo chuckled inside the house. The reasons for going in intentionally totally forgotten. But off a one-track mind there, Goku. She grabbed her 2 Dragon Balls and put them in her bag. When she grabbed Goku's for Star Ball, though, she hesitated. She could have put them right with the other 2, but somehow didn't feel comfortable doing so, not without his permission. She picked it up and put it back on the pillow. It lied on originally. Okay. It laid on. Okay. Guys, this has been for so long, but I really want to complete it, but it's probably going to take like... Bro. I'm gonna do it. Okay, I promise. I literally, on God, promise. I see, just need to breathe. Breathe. Okay, that should be good for now.
For 2 days, the crew had to stay at the restaurant to wait for lunch. Others got their kicks by going inside and eating there while simultaneously messing with lunch.
It would still be there once dinner was finished, and whether she or Goku carried it didn't truly matter, did it? She walked out and closed the doors behind her, joining Goku in preparing their feast. Why can't I get this? Bulma almost screeched in sheer frustration. She had decided that with her wish kind of up in the air at this point, she could actually use a bit of a break from her Dragon Ball hunt. She'd been searching non-stop for months now, and even she was starting to get a bit wary at this point. Instead, she had asked Goku if he would mind if she could set up a house. She still chuckled over his blatant confusion, and then complete utter flabbergasted look when she had pulled out one of her dino caps out. When she pulled one of her dino caps out, he promptly called her a mistress of witchcraft, and that not even he could do anything like that.
going to
Her
Kami
delighted
Island
giggles
for
hadn't
Kokoyashi
stopped
Village. Naruto smirked.
for a
What about
good
Minami
2 to
Chan?
3
What
minutes.
about the rest of the crew?
Her
What am I, a figment of your
mer-
imagination?
her,
Nami looked
her
down.
merriment,
Everyone else
however,
has
had not
disappeared. I
lasted,
left them
not
back at
even
Baratie.
close. She
Naruto's
had
jaw
been at this
almost
for
dropped at
3
that
days,
admission
and
from
no
the
matter
orange haired
what
girl.
different
What?
methods of
Is Luffy really
meditation
in
she
that much
tried
trouble that you had to
and
take his
failed
shell?
at,
Why are we the
she
only ones
just
here?
could not
Couldn't
even
someone else
begin
have
to
come?
call up anything
Nami flinched somewhat.
resembling
Let me
ki,
see, I kind of
and
swung
that
a ship.
infuriated her.
Naruto simply stared
She
at her blankly. After a
was a
minute he said,
genius.
alright then.
She
Nami
had
couldn't
fixed a
believe what
damned
she was
alien
hearing. What?
spaceship
Naruto walked over to the side and
and
sat
built
down,
a ray
leaning
gun
against the
before she
railing
was
to
even
get
6
support.
years
But
old.
alright then.
She had gotten
For
her
you all,
first
I'm not a part of this
PhD
crew.
when
I'm
she
along
was
for the
just
ride.
11.
The
She
ship
had
is
helped her
moving.
dad with the
Thus I am
breakthrough
moving,
that had made
therefore I
dino
am
caps
dragging
as
you.
good as they
It
became.
doesn't matter to me
She
who's running
had
the ship as long as the
always
ship is
been
running. So let's chit chat. What's in Kokoyashi Village that has you stealing ships to
she
get there?
had always
Please
been
lie
able to
moan.
do
She
anything she
didn't
put her
bother
mind
hiding
to.
it. Nami believed that
So
he really didn't care what she
why
had
could she
done.
not
He really
even
was
begin
just
to
there for
do
the sake of
this?
being there. Why did you
She
even come
groaned
with
as
us
she
in the
got
first
up and
place?
brushed herself
You
off.
don't seem to want me
This
to.
this
Well
isn't
anyway.
working, she sighed
Naruto sighed
sadly.
and cracked an idle
And
look at Nami.
maybe
Honestly, Nami, I've
maybe
seen a lot of things.
I'm
I
just
don't think there are a
cut
whole
out for
lot of things
this.
that can surprise
Bulma
me
hated
anymore.
giving up.
I'm
It was
bored,
something
very
she
bored.
despised
I'm out on the
with every
ocean to find
fiber of her
something to
being.
do.
But
Anything to
before she
occupy
could
my time
get
because
more
time is
negative
one
on
thing that
herself,
I have nothing but.
Goku powdered,
Whether that anything is
patted
a purpose
her
to
on the
live for,
arm.
or a
Hey,
person to
don't be
help,
like that,
or
Bulma.
someone powerful to
You're
fight,
brand new
that's
to
why I'm
this
here.
and never
Nami
trained a
frowned.
day in your
Why would
life.
you
It
want to
makes
leave your home
sense
so
for you
badly?
not to get it
Was
that
it that bad?
quickly. He
Naruto let out a
comforted the
laugh. It's
blue-haired
not that I hate
beauty.
my home.
Here, sit
Quite
back.
the opposite,
Sit
actually.
back
I
down.
love my
He plopped
village.
down in
But
front of
they
her.
didn't need me
Maybe
anymore.
if you get a feel
Ninja are
for
fast
mine,
becoming a relic in the
it would be
elemental age
easier
of
for you to
Kami-chan. There was no more reason for
it will be
someone like me to
easier
be
for
there.
you to be able to
I
feel
fought
your
for my
own.
village.
She
I
let out
learned from
another
my
sigh,
village. But now
but
they don't need
did
me, so I
indeed
left
sit
and I
back
took
down,
over Wanderer
cross-legged
Land.
like him.
Eventually I
How
got
are we gonna
tired of
do
that
that?
too.
Give me your
I
hands and
never
close your
realized how
eyes.
small that place was until I left.
Goku
This
answers
world is huge.
cheerfully,
I
drawing
know I can
a
find
small
something out here
flush.
if I keep
What?
searching.
Why do you want
He
me to do
smiled at
that?
her.
Bulma
But what about
stammered.
you?
For a
Why leave
moment,
your home and come all the way out here?
reminded
Then
for
steal
a
your friend's
second that
ship
the
to get
boy was
back.
actually just a year younger
Nami
than
had a
her,
somewhat
no
dark look
matter
on
his
her face.
appearance.
We'll see
Goku
when we get
blinked
there.
owlishly at
Naruto's
her.
face turned
Well, I
serious at
figure
this.
I would hold your
Nami had
hands while I
changed
summon
clothes
my
now
own
to a
ki.
more revealing green
I
top
could
that
maybe
revealed a
even
tattoo on her
search for
right arm.
yours. She
Once
swallowed
again, he
before
decided not to press the issue because he was
taking a
right.
deep
He would
breath
find
and
out when
doing
they got
as he
there.
directed,
And that was
holding her
more than
hands
enough
out
for
for
him.
him to
He just
grasp.
hoped that
She looked
whatever
at
was
his
happening to put such
earnest
a look on
face
Nami's pretty face
before
would fix it
calling
and may be
herself
able to give him a peace
before
of mind
calming
too.
herself and closing her
They
eyes.
landed outside of Nami's
Relax, you're
home
still
village in
too
order to
stiff, she heard
disembark and
him
walk
giggle.
east on Kami Island
Let
silently with
everything
Naruto
else
following
fall
closely
away.
behind Nami
That
taking
was
in the
how
things that
Grandpa
he
taught
saw.
me.
This is a really
I
nice
don't know
place.
how to.
What could
I
be
don't know
going on
how.
here to make her
She
so
found
somber right
herself
now?
responding. It was
Soon
true
they came
too.
upon a gate walling
Everything
off
was
an area
hectic
from the
with
rest of
her.
the island by shore.
Always in
Naruto
motion,
had
she
to
had
blink as
a
he pointed blankly
restlessness
at the
to
mid-building and
her.
structures behind the gate, just sitting
The
pretty in clear
to
view of
her,
anyone.
to her,
Did I miss this when we
the
sailed over
she
here?
was finding.
Nami kept
Wait,
her
hold
eyes
on.
on the place ahead of them.
Always
We
in
didn't sail
motion,
this way when
she
we
had a
came here.
restlessness to her
It's not like it's hidden. It's out in
that
the open to
she
show that they
was
don't fear
had presented
repercussions from the
itself.
Marines, although
Oh,
it helps
hold on.
that Arlong
Always
has
in
them in his back
motion, she
pocket.
had a restlessness to her
Naruto nodded. So what
that
do I call
she
this
was
monstrosity?
finding
Who is Arlong?
surprising.
And why should I not kick his face
Now
in with my
that the
fist as
need
I
to
am
let
wont
it
to do from
fall
the
away had
displeased look you have on your
presented
pretty little
itself,
face?
and it wasn't as
Nami
a
simply stared at the gate as if she were
restlessness,
preparing for
and
something
it
until they
wasn't
heard
a
rapid little
restlessness of the
footsteps
body
behind them.
either, but of the
The little
mind.
boy brandishing a short sword
She
stopped
always
in front
itched
of them,
to
pointing it at them.
be
Naruto
solving
raised
a
his eyebrow
problem,
at the boy while
rewriting
Nami just
equations,
looked at
or
him
creating
coldly. Get
something.
out of my way
Her
so I
body
can kill
was
Arlong.
merely a medium for
If you
her
don't get out
mind.
of my way, I'll kill you too.
But
Naruto gestured
but
towards the
all of
boy.
that
Is this
fell
kid
away
serious?
once
The
Goku
boy had
turned
tears
his
running
ki
down
up.
his face.
All
I
of a
said get out of
sudden,
my
she
way.
felt a staggering warmth, and electric pulse all at once. Even if she didn't get shocked in the slightest, goosebumps raised on her skin, and every hair on her body pricked up. She even felt a little frizz in her hair
She dropped a sack
and
of
a
milk
light
beside him. I'll give you
sheen
my money It should protect your life.
A light sheen
Naruto
of
simply
sweat
gestured towards the fallen
starting
boy,
to cover
figuring
her.
that this warranted some kind of
And in the
explanation.
darkness,
However,
it was
Nami
as
just
if she
moved
could see
past him and
Goku
entered the
without opening
facility.
her eyes, with
Naruto shook his head and
power
spared the boy
radiating
one
off him
last
in
glance as he
waves.
watched him pick
Once it
himself up
ended,
before he
Bulma
followed
staggered.
Nami
She
inside.
panted as if
Naruto had to
she
blink
had
as
run a
everywhere he
marathon.
looked inside he saw
What was
human
that?
fish
Was
hybrid
that really
people.
you, Goku?
What was Nami
You
doing
have
with
that
these
much
guys?
power? She
They
didn't
looked
have
like they
anything to
wanted to
compare it
tear
to,
him apart
obviously,
simply for
but she
just being
felt
there,
he
but
could
him
have
being with Nami
powered
kept them from
at
acting.
least a
Thus he
couple
stayed close to her for
of
the time being. No need
city
for a
blocks,
senseless fight, yet.
if that was just
However,
the
this
tip of the
didn't keep him
iceberg.
from throwing out an aura of, "Come and try it," as he gave the fishmen a
She
look of
trembled,
challenge.
staring at her
He
own
could feel the
hands.
tension
That
rising by
was
the time Nami
amazing.
reached the main
Her
building.
breathing even out.
There was a
Thanks,
merman in a
Bulma. He
hat with a
grinned at
soft-ish
her.
nose and
Do
long
you think
black
it
hair
helped?
going
I
down
sure
his
hope
back,
so. She
sitting by
smiled back,
himself on
taking
a
a deep
patio.
breath and closing her
He
eyes
wore an
again. She
unbuttoned
didn't
yellow
grasp his
tropical
hands
shirt
this
showing that
time,
he was
though
very
she was
physically
more aware of
imposing
him
in olive
now
brown
than she
shorts.
had been.
The way
She
he
could feel
carried
him
himself,
there
Naruto
rather than
figured he
just
was the
knowing
boss
he
of
hadn't
that merman.
moved. She let it
He looked
pass
at
by
Nami
her
with
and
a
focused
sharkish grin.
inward.
"So you're back,
But
huh?
try as she
It's
might,
been a
she
long
just couldn't
time."
bring it out on her
Nami
own.
put a
Every
smile
time
on her
she thought
face,
she
and
had it,
Naruto now
it would
knew
just
why it
slip
took
through
so
her
long for her
fingers.
to come
She opened
inside.
her eyes with
She
a
had to
groan.
paste that
This is
artificial
hopeless.
smile
I
on
just
because
can't
he
do
could
it.
just feel
You
the ire
did,
from this guy
actually, Goku told
radiating
her
off
with a
of her,
small
who
grin.
still
What?
had a
She
very
blurted.
weak security
What?
system.
She blurted,
The merman
shock
laughed.
coming
"You think
over her
anyone would
features,
dare
but
to
I
go
didn't feel
against me?"
anything. Goku nodded.
Naruto
I
blocked a
did,
snort.
and I know
"Yeah,
what the
because that little
problem
kid
is.
that was coming to
Now,
fillet your
you don't
showed
have
just how
enough
much you
ki.
love here."
It's like
Of
if you
course, he
were
kept
trying
that
to
little
drink
thought to
from a rain
himself for the
catcher
time
that
being.
was nearly dry,
Nami was trying to
he
keep
told
up
her,
her act
and
here.
her
No need
face
to
and
blow it
mood
all himself.
dropped.
He
Oh.
motioned to the sack that Nami
She
was
stared at the
carrying.
ground,
"How much did
blinking,
you
and
get
some
this
tears
time?
started starting to
Come now,
fall.
don't leave me in
Anyone would be
suspense."
devastated at
Nami
hearing such
waved the
news
sack in her
when
hand.
it meant
"I got a
something
pretty
they
good amount,
desire
but I
would
felt a
forever
little
be
lonely
out of
this
reach.
time." She gestured
Sorry.
back at Naruto, who smirked
I,
upon being introduced.
Sorry
The
for
boss
wasting your
fish
time,
started laughing.
Goku.
"Where
Her
did you
throat
get that
clenched
from?"
a bit as her
"The
lip
person who
trembled.
loves
Waste
to
my
betray
time.
people
You
like
haven't
you."
wasted anyone's
Nami
time.
smiled faintly. "You
Bulma,
think so, Arlong?"
he told her,
Arlong
getting up.
pointed at
All
Naruto.
this means
"You,
is you need to
filthy human,
train. I
who
can
are you
tell
and
you're
what are you
tough.
doing in
You'll
my
get it in no
territory with
time.
Nami?"
What do you mean by
Naruto
training? She
shrugged.
asked a bit
"Nami-chan stole
wearily,
the ship I
though
was
her mood
sweeping
had
on to get
definitely
here, and I
improved
figured
when
why not
she
go along with her.
heard that flying
I'm just along for the ride. Besides,
wasn't
she
out
did
of
say she
reach.
was
You don't
lonely,
mean
right?"
being
Naruto finished, throwing a sly
muscly
grin in
mess,
Nami's
right?
direction.
Goku laughed at
Nami
her. I
broke
mean,
her
if that's what
character
you
and
want,
started
sure,
sputtering
but I can
nonsense in
just
Naruto's
teach you
direction.
from my
Naruto
my
smirked and sidled
grandpa's
up to the
style.
girl, throwing an arm over her
It's a
shoulder and
great
pulling her
exercise.
close.
Plus, it'll
"Nami-chan,
be
you
better
can't keep this a
if you
secret for
know how to
long.
defend yourself,
Just
just
think
in
about
case
it,
I'm not
all the
around
time alone
on our
together on the
hunt,
ship.
right?
How he just
He
stole
shook
away,
his head.
leaving everyone
Anyway,
else behind.
meditation will help
Can't-sighted
too.
girl.
Once you learn
Nami
how to do
finally
it,
got him
learning how
off
to
of her and
control your
cracked him in
energy
the
is
head,
just as
or so
important
she thought
as
before
learning
he
how to
vanished
use
in a
it.
puff of
She
smoke,
stood up
the
and
log
stretched the
dropping to the
kinks in
ground
her
beneath
legs.
legs.
I do really
"Now
want
that
to
was
learn to
nice,
fly.
Nami-chan.
I never
After
thought
all
of
I did for
myself as
you,"
a fighter, though, she
Naruto
sighed.
said from the seat
You're
next
right,
to
though.
Arlong
Even
on
if
the
fighting
patio,
wasn't something I
surprising
ever
everyone that
pictured
after
for
I let you
myself,
steal all of that
being able to
crap from
defend myself
everybody and
is
didn't say a
important.
word.
She,
He looked
she
around from his seat. "Man, you've got
She
a nice
started
place
giggling
here. The
dryly,
mortgage must be a killer,
especially
though."
since now I know
Arlong had
there are
to hide his
people
surprise at the
impervious to
boy just appearing
bullets.
from Nami's side
What
next
does
to,
that
"Oh,
mean? He
who are you
asked,
boys?"
scratching the back of his head.
Naruto looked at
She
Arlong
chuckled
and got a
under her
grin on his
breath.
face.
Right.
"You wouldn't happen
Forgot
to have
you've
an
been
old relative by the name of Kisame
alone
with
all
you?"
this time. I'm
Naruto
actually
quickly waved his own
surprised at
question
how
off.
much
"Never mind.
you
I'm
actually know,
Uzumaki Naruto.
considering that you
I'm just
haven't
some
had
random guy.
had a
Just think
formal
through.
education.
Don't mind me."
Impervious
Arlong
means
gave
you can't
Naruto an
be
appraising
affected by
look.
something.
"I
So
see.
if you're
What is
impervious
it
to
that you do
bullets,
with
it
skills
means
like that,
bullets can't
Uzumaki
hurt you.
Naruto?"
Wow, you're really
Naruto
smart,
shrugged.
Bulma.
"Whatever I
Goku
need.
smiled
I
at
do
his
what I
friend.
want,
She
and I take
giggled.
what
I
I want."
mean, yes,
He
I
raised an
am, but
eyebrow at Arlong.
not
"Why do you
because
care?
of
I
that.
thought I was
That's
just some
basic in
filthy human. Arlong slapped his
comparison.
webbed hand on the
She
table and
couldn't help
grinned.
but
Then it
puff
settled.
up and brag a
You work
bit.
for me
She
now.
smiled back down
Naruto
at she
narrowed his
smiled down at
eyes.
him.
I work for
I can
money.
teach you a bit if you
Arlong's
want.
grin
Sure,
got
it's only
straight.
fair
Like
since
I
I'm
said,
teaching
you
you,
work
right?
for me now.
He grinned anyway. Are we
Naruto
going to
didn't
be leaving
blink.
soon?
I
I
work
think we
for him.
should, Bulma
Enough.
replied. Those Dragon
Arlong
Balls
broke the
won't collect
table with his
themselves. We
fist.
can leave
I'm
in the
trying to
morning.
spare your filthy human
Those
life
Dragon
because I
Balls
can
won't
see that
collect
you have some
themselves.
skill.
We can
I
leave
should
in the
kill you out of
morning.
principle just for daring to set
Okay.
foot in
He
this
pumped
place.
a fist.
However,
We're
you're
going
also
on an
familiar with
adventure.
our
He
little
jumped
Nami
and
and you
clicked
look
his
like you
heels
carry yourself
cheerfully,
well. Better
drawing
than the
another
rest of the
bubbly
humans
laugh.
on
But
this
since
island.
we aren't
Plus
leaving
this
until
makes you
tomorrow, let's
somewhat
start your
potentially
training.
valuable to me.
Sure, Bulma
Nami's
nodded
breath
back,
hitched as
trying to
she
keep
watched
her
Naruto
chair.
unflinchingly stare down Arlong without a
How
thought.
hard could it be?
Naruto was currently
Hard.
weighing the positives and
The
negatives of
answer to
standing up
that
and
question
headbutting
was
this guy
very
in the
fucking
face.
hard.
The positives were that
Goku
for
had
one, it
immediately
would make
had
him
her
feel
doing
better.
some light
That guy
stretching and
seriously had
stuff to
no
warm
idea
up.
who he was
She
talking
had
to.
gone
For
inside and
another, it
changed
might make Nami smile, and not a fake one like
to a
she
set
had
of
been
yoga
doing since
pants
they had
and an
arrived.
older
A true
shirt and
smile like the
came
ones
out
she used to give when they were
for
with
about
Luffy and company. The
half
negatives were,
hour of
if
light
Nami was holding
exercising.
back her anger, then chances were that she wanted to do it herself, but
She
something was
had
stopping her from doing
been
so.
pretty
And if
content.
he acted on his
Nothing
desire to break this
overly
guy's jaw,
strenuous. Not
that might
even
have some
she could
negative
handle.
repercussions for
She had
Nami that
only
would
been
really
breathing
force
slightly
Naruto to
harder
kill
by the
this
end
guy,
of it.
and he
It
didn't
had
really
been
feel like
feeling good about
slaughtering a
herself.
base of
She could
mermen
handle this,
today,
and then
not
Goku
without a
had
good reason
declared the
anyway.
warm up over. She
Naruto
groaned as
simply
she drove
smirked and stood
on.
up.
She
Okay,
hadn't
Arlong,
even been
you got me.
able to
As
muster up
long as you
any
can pay me
amusement
some
when
good
Goku
money,
had
I'll work for you.
again freaked out
What do you
about
want from me?
her dino
Arlong
caps.
grinned once more. A good choice.
Not
The
when her
job
whole
I have
body
for you
hurt.
is quite simple.
He had
Just stay with Nami
started
and
her
keep her
off by
safe.
telling her to
She's
do as
very
many
valuable
push-ups
to
as
us,
she
you
could
see.
handle.
She
And
seems to trust you enough to bring you here and
after a
believe I
meager
wouldn't eviscerate
protest
you
that
thus you must
had
be
been
somewhat
silenced by
reliable
the
for her.
word flying,
Naruto looked at
and her
Nami.
first
Her
push-up
eyes were
done,
very
had
sorrowful as
immediately
she looked
corrected
at
her
him.
form.
She didn't want him to get involved in this, but in
He had
response he
left
simply
upon
gave her
seeing
a
her
huge
butt
foxy
stuck
grin
in
and
the
turned to
air and
Arlong.
forcibly
Deal.
adjusted her.
However, I don't answer to you.
She could
Arlong was about
hardly
to
even
snap
do
again when
10 before
Naruto raised
falling.
his hand.
Once
I
she
answer to
had yelled
Nami,
at
who
him
answers to you
that he
apparently.
wasn't doing
Therefore
anything
you are
himself.
still indirectly my
He had
boss, but
shut her
Nami is
up
the only
by
one that
doing
can tell me to do anything. That
one
isn't too
finger
bad, is it?
handstand
I
push-ups.
don't think your merman would accept me as a regular member of your crew
He was
anyway, so
holding
this
his
should work
whole
out better.
body's
Arlong
entire
chuckled.
weight
You
on
don't
one
hear as do
finger.
you, Uzumaki.
By the time
Naruto
she
shook
had
his head.
finished her
If I
10, he
told
had
you all
done
of the things
the
that I've seen
equivalent
in my
of
time, you'd
lapping
understand why your appearance means
her
very little
5
to me.
times.
Naruto reached his hand out. So do we have an accord?
And by the time
Arlong
she
grinned
had
and
finished
slapped
her 20
Naruto on the
crunches,
back.
she had
Very
done
well,
he
Uzumaki.
had done the other
He turned to
hand
the
in
rest of the
his
mermen.
own set
Our
of
sister has
100
returned and she's brought us a
crun-
new ally.
crunches.
Let's celebrate. The mermen all
And
let
from
out a
there,
loud
it
cheer at
had
Arlong's
gone.
proclamation.
Squats, more
Nami
push-ups, more
wasn't very
crunches,
pleased
some
with
jogging.
Naruto's actions at
It
Arlong's
was a
party,
wonder
but what could he have
she
done?
was even awake.
She
She
didn't
had
want him to
practically
haul
died
off
on
and
her
start
bed
a one-man
after
war
almost
against them,
drowning
and
in
he
the
would stuck there
shower.
until he could find a way to leave. Not
Wow,
that he was
Bulma,
leaving
this
anyway
thing
with
goes
all of
pretty
these
fast.
questions of his still up in the air.
His
Nami had
ecstatic,
basically taken him
his
aside in the middle of the mermen's party and told him to leave.
ecstatic
At
giggling
first he was
reached her ears.
apprehensive
This
about
is
leaving her
way
there, but she
faster than the
simply laughed
animals around
bitterly.
her.
Arlong would never harm his golden goose. Just head to a village a short ways
She
away
managed
from
to
here.
cork her
That's
lips
Todoroki
tirelessly.
village.
With what
There
I've
should
seen
be a
you
house
do,
with a
I'm
tangerine grove
surprised
in the
you're
back.
having fun back there.
Naruto walked through the
You're way
village of
faster
Tokoyashi and apparently word of him
flying,
more or
aren't
less
you?
joining up
Well,
with
sure,
Arlong
Goku
moved
told her,
fast
but it's
because he
still
was getting
fun
close
doing
to
new
the
things.
Fuku
I'm pretty
Ranges
sure
from here to
I
Outright
can't run
Hostility.
this
It's
fast
been a
yet.
long time since anyone has looked at me like that.
He used the word
Naruto
yet.
eventually
That
made it
really
to a
don't
quaint-looking
told
place
her
at the top of
all
a
she
hill.
needed to know about the kid,
Naruto
didn't
made
it?
his way to the front
Despite
door and
herself,
gave it a
she
spirited
giggled
knock before being
a
greeted with a
little
pistol
before
to his
pulling
face.
over.
Well, oh, do you too?
Oh, just be a
Who are
minute,
you and
okay,
what are you
Goku? I
doing
need some
here?
privacy for a
Naruto
moment.
tried
Sure
to look
thing.
around the gun to
Goku
get a look
stayed
at the
in the
feminine
seat
voice.
and
The
started
person
looking at the
threatening him with a
motorcycle's
gun
panel.
was a
Wonder
woman
why?
with
That's
bluish hair
pretty
with a red
weird.
tie keeping bangs from her face. She wore black pants and a yellow sleeveless top that showed off a tattoo that reached from her shoulder across her chest, where Naruto's eyes stopped. A pistol being pushed against his cheek attracted his attention back
Bulma
up.
entirely
You should
shuffled
answer
off,
now
rolling her
before I pull the
eyes.
trigger.
Right.
Naruto calmly placed
Sheltered.
his hand on the gun and
She
lowered it.
sighed, I need to
Nami
pee,
said
so
be here
don't
for some
follow
reason.
me. Lord,
Apparently
help
she
me.
didn't want me
If she
around
needed to
Arlong or
explain the
something.
birds
Now,
and
pretty
beasts to
lady,
him,
what may I
Goku
call you?
shrugged and
My
continued
name is Nojiko, and since you know
prodding
her well enough,
at
I'm
the
Nami's sister. She lowered the
sh-
gun. What are you doing with Arlong's men? Naruto shrugged. Following your sister, I guess.
Shrumentation,
Nojiko sighed
and
and moved out of the doorway.
as she
Well, come on in, I
vanished,
guess.
being
Naruto walked inside at her behest.
behind
Why
the
she would
large
send
boulder,
you
he
here in
nearly
this village, I
jumped
don't know.
out of his skin when
Naruto smirked.
her
Well, maybe
terrified
she was
shriek
trying to
invaded his
keep the
ears.
mermen and Arlong
Goku!
apart from murdering each other for
Goku!
standing around.
Help!
They don't seem to
He
tolerate me
leapt
like they
out
do her.
of the motorcycle
Nojiko
and
sighed
raced
again as
to
she
where
led him
he
through the
saw
house.
her
She's
last,
too valuable for them
skidding
to
to
harm.
stop as
And
he
they've gotten
eyed the
used to her by
massive
now. now. In hindsight, it
Pterodactyl.
probably was a good idea for her to
Pterodactyl
send you here.
that was
Naruto
clutching
walked
her
into
in
a
its
room
claws.
where
Wow,
Nojiko
you're
sat
big,
at
he
a
said with
table
a grin.
across from a little
And you're
boy.
small,
You're
the
the
beast
brat whose mommy
retorted,
kicked
switching the
outside of
screaming
Arlong
Bulma
Park.
to his tail and pulling
What
out
the
a
hell are you
rope.
doing here? The
Your
boy
friend
jumped
and
up and
I
glared
are
at Naruto. She
going for
didn't
a
kick
ride,
Mom,
you
she
see,
just
and
cut
you're
me off
not tall
hard.
enough.
Naruto
You
snickered.
have dinner
Yeah, because you
reservations, but
having a
only for
sword
two.
pointed at us
Dinner for
threatening
two
to kill
sounds
us if you
perfect,
off
Goku
guard.
agreed before raising his
She
hand.
flattened you.
Wait,
If
what
I
are you
wasn't
doing?
so confused by it, I probably would have
Wait,
left my
what
arm.
are you doing?
The boy was about to
Its
shout at
speech was
Naruto again
interrupted by
until
its
Nojiko
lack of
gave
head.
him a stern
A
glance.
bright
Chapo settled down.
red blast
Naruto
of
looked
ki
to the
had
side and
taken it
had to
right
do a
off.
double take as he saw an
Momo
unconscious
slumped in
Usopp
relief
laying on
as
the
the
ground.
tail
Holy
slacked
crap, they come
enough
fast.
for her to slide
How
out.
the did they get
The
here?
pterodactyl
Nami
kneeled
stole their
forward
ship.
and
Nojiko
crashed into
looked
the dirt.
strangely at Usopp on the
The
ground.
wound
You know
where
this
its head
person?
used to be
Naruto nodded. Yeah,
already
he's a part of the crew that Nami was
cauterized.
traveling with. She stole their ship and came here
Right.
while we were
Thank
in
you,
Rocky.
Goku. No problem,
I was
Bulma.
asleep
He
somewhere
yelled
where she
excitedly
didn't
before
bother to
lifting
look
the
so she
entire
couldn't
beast
really
overhead.
get me
And
off.
look, we have dinner
Beat
now.
him up.
These
Nojiko
things are
laughed
super
slightly.
tasty.
It was
He
me.
started
It was
walking
me
back
that
towards the
get
bike
killed by the merman
without
and
even a
Crucible.
huff of
Nochiko noticeably flinched after
exertion.
mentioning Goku
Anyway,
Village and turned
I'll
to look
leave
at
you to
Chapo,
your
who was holding
bathroom
back
break.
tears.
She groaned again, still
Naruto
exhausted from
narrowed his
yesterday's
eyes.
training,
What exactly
but
happened to
now
Gosa Village?
understanding that
Nochiko looked
Goku was
away.
right.
Arlong and
She
his
had
pirates happened to Gosa Village. Naruto stood up and walked towards the front door. I'm going to see for myself what exactly you all aren't telling me. You and your sister are keeping something very important to me, and I plan on finding out what
She
that something
slid
is.
her panties
Naruto
down
exited the
and
premises
let out
before
a
vanishing
little
outside
cry
the window in a
of
whirlwind
pain
of glee.
as her legs screamed at her
Naruto
for
stopped back at
squatting.
Kokoyashi
I hate to
Village
say it,
before
but
going an
Goku
outright
has
run to
a
stomp
point
back and cool himself off.
about
The
this
village of
self-defense
Kosa was
thing.
completely
If he
destroyed.
hadn't been
Houses
here,
had been
I
upburned
would have
like
been
some
eating.
kind of show. There wasn't a
She
soul in the
grumbled
entire village. There was something
morosely.
seriously wrong with that Arlong guy. Naruto hoped that for Nami's sake he didn't have to
I'm
see him again, or he might just forget Nami's apprehension towards
I'm going
Naruto
to
trying to
have
kill him.
this lesson,
Apparently there were still
his
lunatics
lessons
outside of Cell
seriously. She
Ventilation that
cried.
had no problem
She
just
cried a
throwing
bit
things out
again
of
as she
personal
stood
dignity.
up.
Naruto was just waiting for
If
one
I
more
don't
chance to crush that
If
foolish
I don't,
girl's
flying
love.
was going to
Just
be
then,
the least of my worries. She was surprised. She
She
hadn't noticed before, but damn, did Goku stink. Maybe it was because they had been out in the wind with him. Behind, with him behind her on the bike, but now they were inside her capsule house. After another witch bomb moment from Goku, it was hard not to notice it. When was the last time you took a bath, Goku? She held her nose shut with her fingers. She probably didn't smell too much better given the day's exertions, but he reeked. A bath? He blinked owlishly at her. You mean like a swim? I swam yesterday. She stared and stared. God damn it. Am I going to have to teach a 14 going on 7, a 14 going on 7 boy, how to take a bath? A vein popped, started to pop on her forehead. Follow me. Minutes later, after having gotten a full frontal from the boy who apparently had zero body shyness, she was scrubbing his hair. Hey, what's this stuff you put in my hair? It smells nice. It's shampoo. You have a lot to learn, Goku, she said with a bit of irritation in her tone. But she knew she had to be patient. He was raised in the wild wilderness after all. I honestly have no idea how your hair hasn't turned into a bird's nest of tangles. Do you at least brush it? What's that? Was his response. No, of course you haven't, she started to grumble. Do you have any idea how hard it is to get hair as nice as yours? Most girls have to have their hair done professionally weekly to get their hair like this. I'm a little jealous. She rinsed it off and saw immediately how silky smooth it was. That's ridiculous. How is his hair that nice? She continued to grouse under her breath. Goku turned and started rubbing his eyes, and her own eyes were drawn to his tail. She had seen it before, but had been incredibly distracted by other things and had overlooked it. Only now did she actually notice it. What in the world is this? She grabbed it and gave it a light tug, trying to take it off. Ow! Goku yelped, jumping up and nearly slipping on the soapy tub.
Ow, my so good, dude.
Bro, Makai, I'm recording.
Yeah, my bad.
The
No idea
tail
how much I want to kill this
whipped
person
out
right
of her
now.
hand
I must be
and moved
begging
in
him to
front of
give me
him.
a current
What
refund.
was that for, Boma? Why did you yank on my tail? He asked angrily. But Boma didn't pay a lick of attention to his question. Instead, she squealed, "No way, it moves?
That's
What the
right, she
hell? Is
said.
that?
Naruto
It's
shrugged.
real,
No,
Goku. Why do you
you
have a
stepped on a
tail?"
deer right in front of me. I wasn't going to let you
Goku
hurt
looked
me killing a
bashful,
guy right in front of
drawing
me a
Boma
second
from her
ago.
shock. "Well, I have
That's
a
not
secret,
true,
Boma."
but I only
He
really bite
picked up
when
the
there's no
brush
reason to
she
bite.
had been intending to use to scrub
Like it now.
his back
He's threatening that
with,
may sound very
and
sexual,
eyed it curiously, sniffing it. He
Oh
shrugged and
my
grabbed
but
it
maybe this place
with
isn't the
his
one to
tail
handle its own problems.
and used it to scrub his back.
They want to defend this place with their
Oh
lives.
my
"You
god.
Maybe they're
remember when
doing
we
it
met?"
for a
he asked
friend, but
shyly.
I don't
"Yeah, of
understand the
course."
payoff.
She cringed a bit, remembering the exact
I bet
incident
this
in
was just
question.
a confusing
"I'm
mistake.
human, just like you, kid."
Ew.
"That's what you
How
said to
long
me,"
plans to raise
Goku
more kids
said.
for me? That may
Momo's
take
eyes
Oh
time.
got
my
big.
god.
She could
Trying to
read
contain
between the
myself in the
lines.
village without fighting.
Oh my.
Jumping
She
in
could
like
read
it's so
between the
sure
lines.
would just be an insult to him and these people.
That's not exactly
Arlong
true.
grabbed Genzo and lifted him over his head to slam him on his
He
neck. You
swallowed
won't dare to
heavily.
go
But,
against me or
but
end up like
Goku,
this.
but,
This is an
but,
example.
but Goku,
Naruto's eyes
you
widened.
look like just like
Broly,
a
Law, I
regular
swear,
boy.
you saw
Are
place
you
before
saying
you
you're
were
not
Law.
human?
Law did. He fired a swell at
He
Arlong that hit home
nodded.
right in
"Yeah,
his
we
face.
don't look too
Exploding
different from
partially.
humans. We have toes
Everyone
and
talks
crazy
about
hair,
what just
from what I
happened, but
know,
there's someone
but we look
underneath.
pretty much the
Who are
same,
you?
other than
Usopp stood with
that
his
we're
arms
called
crossed. I
Saiyans.
am the bravest warrior on
We
the earth.
also grow weird, which is
Captain
why I look
Usopp.
so
He
young.
spoke
I
gravely
grow
but
really
Oh
faster
determinedly.
soon.
ew.
Once
The
I get
villagers
bigger, I
looked
won't
worried when
start
this guy
looking
walked.
old until
Don't you
I'm
know just
like
who he
Ew.
is?
100.
Everyone calls Naruto Usopp and they're afraid of me. If
Um, I don't even know if you guys can hear me, but wow, she sat down heavily on the tiles. I I've never heard of Sans before. So, so so you're like an alien from outer space? "Yeah," he said, still a little bit cautious. But she seemed to be taking it well. "It took me a while to find it, but I even know where my spaceship is. That's amazing." Bulma got up and walked closer. "You are really special, aren't you, Goku? What, will you show me your spaceship once our adventure is over?" "Once your adventure is over, I mean?" "What? Okay. Of course, I'll take you there anytime." She smiled at him and gave him a towel, completely uncaring about his nudity now. How could something like that frighten her or turn her away when she had such an amazing font of new knowledge in her new tiny friend? Goku was now obsessed with. Oh my god, I said obsessed. Goku was now dressed in new clothes. His old stuff was so impregnated with the stink that she had to toss everything away. She was very grateful that her mom always packed ba- basketball shorts and tank tops into her clothing dino caps. And even more thankful that they fit on Goku's smaller but more muscular body. The shorts had needed to be cut down a bit, but Goku didn't seem the type to mind his appearance overly much. "So what else do you know about your race, Goku?" "I want to know everything." She hadn't been this excited to learn something new in years. "I don't know much," Goku admitted to her. "I already told you about our weird ages. Our weird ages." Goku relaxed, seeing that she was still interested and friendly, unlike what Grandpa Gohan had feared would happen. I only know the information my parents left me on my ship. And most of that was just ways to become stronger. We're a warrior race, which is why I have such an easy time learning about ki and stuff. Grandma Gohan was always impressed at how easily I picked up his fighting style too. I can imagine, Bulma giggled. I'm a little jealous. I wish I had that ease. Flying was... Oh shit, bro. Bulma wished to be a Saiyan? Never know. I can imagine. Bulma... Okay. Flying was one of the greatest things I've ever done. A twinge of fear then appeared. Wait, a warrior race? You don't mean like warlords or anything, right? They're not gonna come conquer us, right? Goku laughed and Bulma didn't notice how it was a bit less of an amused giggle, more of a darker chuckle. No, I don't think we have to worry about that. Phew. She wiped her head. She wiped her forehead. You scare me there, Goku. Oh, Goku perked. I remember another thing. For some reason, Saiyans love naming stuff after vegetables. I never remembered my real name until after I found my spaceship. And then I was so used to Goku that I kept using it in Grandpa's memory. But my parents named me Kakarot. Momo's cheeks puffed up a bit. Kakarot? You mean like carrots? Carrot cop. Yeah, our planet was named Vegeta, so was the king. So was the king. Goku started to giggle at the look on her face. Blah ha ha ha. I can't. I just don't fucking do the laughing stuff. Yeah, Bulma laughed. Okay, yeah. You see Bulma's laughing. If you want to reenact the laughing yourself, you can do that. But, Bulma starts to cackle gaily. Whoa! Bulma starts to cackle gaily. Okay, but gaily. Oh, I think I needed that laugh. That was amazing. She fell back and continued giggling. Spread eagle. Uh, Spread eagle. You mean like her legs were open on her bed with Goku standing right in front of her? Therefore, meaning that she opened her legs in front of Goku. Therefore, meaning that Goku took um wasn't being a Simba, was being a pimp. Oh my god. Goku is like the biggest pimp in anime. He deserves the award for Pimp of the Century, bro. Like, man's turned down Bulma's offer of lifting up her you know, and giving Goku like making Goku have a little peek. Like, Mills was like, why would I want to see your dirty old fanny, bro? Like, what the bro? Oh my god. That was one of the pimpiest moments I've ever seen. Okay. Eventually, she sat up again. So you're strong. You're younger, longer. You're stronger, natural. You're naturally stronger, and get stronger faster. You have faster healing. Hell, you even have an easier time learning about ki. You're a cheat code. She finished. Hey, I don't cheat. Goku yelled, incensed. Hey, hold on, what? I swear, hold on. can't think of what it is. Okay, see, I know what it is. Oh, so it was recording the whole time. Okay, good. I just wanted to like see it out so I could actually know. Okay. Okay. Boa just burst out laughing again. I know you wouldn't. Sorry. You obviously wouldn't get a reference like that. My bad. Reference? Goku took this accuracy. Boa laughed right just a bit more. You wouldn't get it without a lot of explanation. So don't worry about it for now. Maybe once our quest is finished, I can show you what I mean. Right. Are we on the right track? Goku asked, inwardly glad that she hadn't asked questions about his parents or why he had been sent away. He wasn't sure quite how he would explain if she did so. He hoped it'd stay that way. Hopefully she just figured it was something Sans did. Bulma grabbed the dragon radar and clicked the top. But it looks like we're heading in the right direction. We still have a long way to go though. It's 100 miles. Is that far, Goku asks? Not really familiar with the words. On the motorcycle, not really. It would take us about an hour. By foot, though, I mean by my feet, not your super feet. It would take days or maybe even weeks, she replied, putting the radar away. She yawned. Now I'm tired. Let's go. No, no. Wow, I'm tired. Let's go to sleep, Goku. We have a big day tomorrow, yeah? Okay, Goku grinned brightly and crawled beside her. She would definitely have freaked if Goku wasn't, well, Goku. But he was, and it wasn't like there was another bed around. She hadn't exactly planned on picking up any guests during her journey. Probably bad foresight on her part. Still, at least she lucked out in getting a young boy who evidently hadn't even begun to notice girls yet. He hadn't even glanced at her when he barged in on her in the bath, asking if she wanted him to wash her back. She had freaked out a tiny little bit, of course, but she felt bad later when she finally came out and saw him pouting and feeling hurt. There was literally no chance she was giving the talk to a 14-year-old boy trapped in a 7-year-old body, especially one she had just met. So she had explained in the simplest terms as possible, that girl bodies were different from boy bodies. She also told him that she had not signed up for the task and she would have someone else explain to him more of the specifics later. In any case, she had quite literally made her bed, and she would sleep in it with Goku by her side, separated by a large pillow. Wow, you're a big turtle. Bone was inwardly praising every deity she could think of for the premature end of her torture session under Goku's hands. Goku had woken them up at, in her opinion, the ass crack of dawn, as he had 2 days ago, and had them exercising. While he didn't take a rest day of himself, he knew she needed one, so he was only training with her every other day. Even still, her muscles were burning. She hadn't personally noticed any improvement from the last time. She hoped that that would end soon. In any case, the distraction was really, really welcome. What are you doing all the way around here? Shouldn't you be living in the ocean? Yes, the troll answered her question. Could I please have some salt water? Maybe some seaweed if you have any? Of course, she went back into the house. I should have done that first thing. Sorry, Mr. Turtle. A few minutes later, she repeated her question as the turtle drank and ate his fill. Luckily, she did have some dried seaweed in case she ever got a sushi craving, so it was quick work to toss them into a bucket with some salt water to get rehydrated. Miss Boma, to take a long story very short, I got lost, the turtle said. After thanking her profusely for the food and the drink, what wonderful seaweed, thank you very much once again. He chomped down on some more. I've been lost for nearly a year. I got swept ashore by a huge wave during a storm, and I've been trying to find my way back to the sea ever since. He started he stared at the ground sadly. I'm sorry that happened to you, Goku patted him on the head. Yeah, taking. Yeah, Bulma. Oh, hold up. Bulma sighed, taking out her phone and looking at the map. They're still 100 miles away. You're still 100 miles away. Even if we pointed it out to you, it'd probably take 20 years getting there. 100 miles. 100 miles. Turtle gasped in horror. Oh no, that really would take me 20 years. She frowned, her nose wrinkling. Maybe even a week ago, she would have said tough luck. She was on a quest, and she would not be denied, but now, especially after Goku had rightfully called out her wish, after learning that they were that there really just one small rock in the vast cosmos. Suddenly, the Dragon Ball seemed quite small. Actually, she already had three. The other four could wait a bit longer. But before she could open her mouth, Goku jumped in. We could take him right there, right, Bulma? She smiled at him. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. She reached out into her bag as she pulled out the Dragon Radar and compared it to her phone's map. Her eyebrows raised in pleasure and pleased surprise as she grinned. Hey, we even looked out. The sea is in the same direction we're heading it for anyway. Awesome. Goku cheered, picking Turtle up without so much as a by your leave, making him windmill his arms in surprise before he settled down. Said aquatic animal looked like he was about to cry. Thank you so much. This is the nicest thing anyone has ever done for me. Don't worry about it, Goku cheered and laughed cheerfully. We weren't going to leave you alone here so far from home. That would be awful. All done, Bulma. All done. Bulma had shrunk all of their things down and had the motorcycle out again. I'm ready to go when you are, Goku. Let's go, he yelled and took off at a pace that shook the turtle nearly out of his shell. I should be irritated that he can do that, Bulma twitched before flooring it as well. Has an extra 100 pound on his back, at least, and he's still landing faster than I can pedal on the bicycle. She caught up quickly on the motorcycle.